Thank you, Thinley. Hello, my name is Yasufumi Uekita, a faculty member of Heritage Studies program in the Graduate School of the University of Tsukuba, Japan. I appreciate IWCH for giving me a chance to introduce my research experience today. This time, I introduce you my own one of the research experiences, a conservation research case study of a traditional village in a tropical region in Indonesia, its Bawomataluo site. My specialty is the conservation of historic architecture and historic districts. First, let me introduce my research methodology. Targets of my research fields and objects are placed in foreign countries outside of Japan, collaborating with domestic foreign researchers. Mutual discussion and communication with international research specialists are essential for concerning heritage conservation way in international collaboration activities. My first international collaborating research experience was a habit investigation of the courtyard house in the center of Peking, China in 1999. This research was conducted with the School of Architecture of Tsinghua University. We finally investigated 70 courtyard houses and 51 family rooms and identified the original part of the traditional houses. After the public symposium report, the local ward government decided to preserve some courtyard houses as a cultural property. The next project was international cooperation research for rescuing the Prambaland temple damaged by the Java central earthquake in 2006, one of Indonesia's World Heritage Site. I organized a Japanese heritage conservation team composed of several specialists whose specialists were architecture, conservation, construction engineering, architectural history, seismic engineering, and conservation science. The research team installed the crack monitoring system inside the Shiva temple to check the stability of stone masonry buildings damaged by the earthquake. We checked 2 years the monitoring system, and then we could show the stability of the building. We reported the outcome of the monitoring research and the analysis stress model to the Indonesian government. As a result, the government finally decided on the conservation method to restore the Prambaland temple. I am conducting the new research to conserve historic wooden churches in East Europe. A new research team composed of wood conservation specialists visited the restoration site of Kizi wooden church to exchange ideas between Russian conservators in 2016. The Russian conservators developed their restoration method, jack-up and step-by-step restoration system, which is a pretty different process from the Japanese restoration way. The Japanese research team started collaboration research with Ukrainian researchers to investigate the deterioration of the historic wooden church, which is one of the World Heritage of Ukraine. Most wooden churches stand at the slope of the hill, and some churches incline. These will be one of the deterioration reasons in this region. This wooden Descent of Holy Spirit wooden church at Poterich in Ukraine leans sharply and has been installed to support its beams inside to protect the inclination. We built the hypothesis that the cracks on the side of the church could be caused by landslide. To identify the causal relationship with the landslide, we are planning to install soil monitoring at the site with Ukrainian corporate researchers. but the research schedule has postponed by COVID-19 infection diseases. Since the previous and progressive work, my research for heritage conservation give attention to any pieces of evidence from observation or measurement of heritage objects or sites. Those kind of information are based on scientific evidence, and it can insist on the relation of cause and effect on the point of issues on heritage site. Today, I have the following viewpoints, like the first, how to find the problems against preservation. The second, the scientific basis in convincing, and the third, exploring the intangible work that forms tangible. Indonesia locates along the equator. Its east-west length is 5,000 kilometers and consists of more than 13,000 islands. Most islands have fruitful tropical rainforests and maintain natural and cultural diversity. Many ethnic minorities have settlements on the island with various types of wooden houses. Most ethnic minority Most ethnic minorities in Indonesia have an Austronesian language culture. The traditional local houses are made of wood and have 4 sacred pillars inside, a remnant of the granary. The top left Minangkabau house remains West Sumatra area. Top right Karo Batak and below left Toba Batak remains at North Sumatra area. Below right Tanah Toraja remains at Sulawesi Island and raised flooring type houses. The top left Praijing settlement and the top right Latengaro settlement are located at Sumba Island, raised floor type houses. The below left Sade settlement located Lombok Island, and the below right Java house remains around the Yogyakarta in Java Island, stands directly on the ground. Indonesian traditional wooden houses have various types and gather to form a settlement. Most traditional houses are separate and don't connect each other. Today's topics in Bawomataluo settlement, places in the south of Nias Island in the Indian Ocean, west side of Sumatra Island. In the sea of the coast of Nias, there is a trench where the Indo-Australian plate and the Eurasian plate collide. This area often occurs interplate earthquakes. Nias Island residents is predominantly Nias ethnic people in about 750,000 population. The island separates 3 administrative areas, north, central, and south. Round-type traditional house settlements are located in central area of Nias Island. The house is raised flooring type, supporting diagonal beams between floor pillars that can resist seismic motion. These round-type houses gather to form a settlement, but they are separate and stand each other. This type has a unique form, but the village composition is the same as the settlement outside of Nias Island. Another type of settlement is located in the south of Nias Island, and those settlements are similar types, the row type house, are connected like a townhouse. The red mark are villages where chief's house remain. The most significant settlement is the Bahamaturo site. The traditional settlement located in the south are in a similar style. Each house faces the open space and connect each other. That kind of settlement style uniquely remains only in this area, in Indonesia. This settlement style is one of the outstanding universal values of settlement. The Indonesian government added the village of Bawomataluo to the World Heritage Tentative List in 2009. At the time, however, the village had not yet been designated as a national or even a regional cultural heritage site. The Bahamaturo site is placed at the top of the hill on level ground 400 meters above sea level. According to the legend, Bahamaturo, the center of the photo, separated from Orahirifao village, where is the left of the photo, in the 19th century, had escaped from the tsunami disaster. The village location is surrounding the rainforest, and the residents cultivate food and wood materials for building and maintenance of houses from the surrounding forest. The top of the hill was good for protecting the enemy. The old photography shows the previous landscape before Christianization in the first half of the 20th century. Until the 19th century, they had their indigenous religion and lifestyle with holy ancestor spirits. Although most indigenous religious activities have been forgotten, we can't find a reason with some cultural remains, for instance, megalith features. The top right photo shows a chief's house called Omosebua. This big house was a symbol of the mighty kingship in the past. Omosebua still stands at the center of the village, and the height is about 20 meters high. We are guessing the biggest traditional wooden house in Indonesia. A descendant family is still living in the house. Typical traditional residence house are called omohada. It is compact and family-sized, facing the square and connecting both sides. Omohada is a raised flooring type house. The height of omohada house is almost the same and forms the straight skyline as landscape. When you visit the village, you find some stone plates in front of each house. The residents called stone daro daro. When one of the family members of the house was admitted to be a member of the local custom organization Adat, the village people bring the stone by themselves from the river in the forest to the house. It is a ritual that is still performed. A megalith water drawing place remains at the foot of the hill. The villagers use this place, but they don't know then when it was made. The villagers inherit the battle dance. It is necessary dance for rituals, but it is sometimes offered to the tourist. I organized a research team to study the village of Bawomataluo. It consists of experts in heritage management, architectural history, architectural anthropology, and architectural design. The research team also included researchers from the Architectural Institute of Gadjah Mada University in Indonesia. This research team was an international collaborative team consisting of experts from Japan and Indonesia. I do not think it is appropriate for only Japanese experts to collect data when researching foreign countries. The important thing is to share Japan's academic experience with foreign experts. The survey was conducted for 2 years, starting in 2011, and the survey report was compiled into a draft conservation master plan. In addition to the academic research, we also conducted a conservation workshop with the villagers to preserve the village. Our research team measured the village and made a plan for it. We then measured several traditional houses and surveyed cultural remains. The height of the traditional houses were obtained from photographs, and an elevation drawing of the village was made. We then checked how much heritage remained in the village as of 2012. This elevation shows that Omosebua is extremely large compared to Omohada. Showing the survey data as visual data can be scientifically explained to all people, including the villagers. The houses marked in the black on the plan are traditional. In traditional Bahamaturo village, then there were 252 houses as of September 2014, 124 of which were traditional houses. Visitors think that there were many traditional houses left in Bawomataluo village. However, only half of the houses in the villages are traditional. All the materials created by our research team were shared with the villagers, the local government, and the national government, and we immediately insist on the need to preserve Bawomataluo village. We provided the idea of the master plan to preserve the Bawomataluo village. Not only do we need to preserve the traditional village, but we also need to preserve the area around the village. We now believe that the cultural environment around the village should be preserved more extensively because the maintenance of traditional wooden houses in the village is closely related to the extensive surrounding forest. In 2012, we invited the mayor of Bawomataluo village, leaders of customary organizations, and an officer from South Nias Prefecture to visit Shirakawa-go, a World Heritage Site in Japan. Preserving traditional villages such as Shirakawa-go can open up utilizing the village for tourism. However, to preserve the village, it is expensive to repair house and maintain the traditional environment. Therefore, let the villagers understanding preservation. It is essential to let them know preservation is costly and an opportunity to create a foundation for their future livelihood. A workshop was held for the younger generation of the village of Bawomataluo to let them know the advantages of the village. The research team explained the need of preservation the village of Bawomataluo to the Deputy Ministry of Education and Culture of Indonesian government. Of course, the team also explained to the governor of South Nias province and the Indonesian government's conservation staff. We also invited the Indonesian government's conservation experts to Bawomataluo village and held a workshop on village conservation. The village of Bawomataluo was designated as a nationally important cultural property on July 6, 2017. However, South Nias province and village of Bawomataluo have not yet developed any ordinances, guidelines, or master plans for conservation. Let's look at Omohada, a typical traditional house in Bawomataluo village. The house in the middle of the photo is faithful to the traditional features of Omohada. Omohada is built on stilts with short pillars erected on the ground floor. In front of the ground floor, diagonal logs support a V shape, creating a visual accent. The roof is gable that's thatched with panel made of sago palm leaves. In recent years, metal sheet roofs have replaced sago palm leaf roofs. Sago palm leaf roofs can be blown off in 7 years, while a metal sheet roof can last more than 15 years. The temperature inside the house with a metal roof is high, while a house with a sago palm roof is cool. However, residents choose the metal roof because of its extended replacement period. In addition, the roof's material has a significant impact on the landscape of the village. The occupant lives on the second floor of the house. The front room facing the street in the living room is the living room with an open window with no glass panels. The back room is the bedroom and kitchen. The occupant lives on the second floor of the house. The front room facing the street is the living room with an open window. Excuse me. This way, okay. The front room is called Tawaro, and the back room is called Foroma. The back side of the house contains the kitchen and toilet, which used to be a separate structure made of wood in case of fire. The structure on the back side was pulled down to prevent the fire from spreading to the main house. The modern structure of the backside is made of concrete blocks. The research team had the opportunity to repair and investigate Omohada. It is a small old style house. According to the interviews with the residents, the house started smaller than now and was extended to form Omohada. The pillar in the center of the house was found to be out of the alignment with the wing of the roof, which was enlarged after the addition. To preserve and repair the house, it is essential to preserve the trace of such additions. There was no kitchen in the back part of this house. There was also no toilet. There was no kitchen in. So that is the residents use the small fireplace in the back of the house. The board on the side wall was noticeably damaged. The roof of the back of the house was still covered with sago palm leaves. Therefore, the structure of the sheet roof remained well preserved. The entrance door had been replaced with a new style one. There was a fireplace in the corner of the room at the back of the house, which served as a simple kitchen. The side wall at the back of the house was heavily damaged. The house's backyard is on the slope of a hill, and we plan to build the additional toilet and shower room here. There are several carpenters in the village who have inherited the traditional skills. We decided to ask the carpenter in the village to repair the house. The cost of repairs is a subsidy provided by South Nias County. Public works contracting is a bidding process. and ordinary carpenters can apply outside the village. However, the repair of cultural heritage must be based on the traditional techniques. Therefore, special conditions were set for the project to be carried out by village carpenters who have been repairing traditional houses. This is the photo after the repair works was completed. The roof on the front side was researched with sago palm leaves. The roof on the back side was covered with metal sheets to collect rainwater. The damaged parts were cut out and new wood was added in, leaving as much as the old material as possible is a standard method of repairing the cultural heritage. The short pillar under the floor were severely damaged and almost completely replaced with new ones. The priority is to keep the structural materials strong enough to withstand the element. Only the damaged wall panels were replaced with new materials. The entrance door was replaced with an old-style door. The side wall at the back of the building were heavily damaged, so most of the components were replaced with new ones. The toilet and shower room were newly constructed with concrete blocks. Sanitary facilities such as toilets must be newly equipped even in traditional houses to maintain the healthy lifestyle for the residents. But of course, this toilet is also equipped with a simple septic tank. Materials needed for repairs by public works were also procured through bidding. This means that the cheapest materials in the market are purchased. The wood cut from the forest by the homeowners for the repairs would not be used. This is because the cost of repairing the house and purchasing the wood would be double subsidized. There is also the case with repair project in Japan. When the owner of traditional houses repair their houses by themselves, the wood for the repairs is cut from their property in the forest. When the trees are cut down, the villagers help carry them out to the by hand. The villagers community has inherited the traditional method of transporting the trees. This kind of mutual support by the villagers community has maintained the traditional houses so far. Homeowners spend years and years storing wood in attics and under floors for the next repair. The wood used for traditional houses is afoa, berua. These woods are used in different ways depending on the house. Depending on the house part, the house owner grows these trees in the forest around the village. The forest then has a relationship with the village to maintain the traditional house. If timber is procured on the market as a public project, the relationship between the traditional house of the village and the surrounding forest will be served. In Japan, the relationship between the maintenance of the village and the forest has already been served, and forest is no longer used. So the preservation of traditional settlement in the tropical rainforest. First one, wooden houses in the rainforest have survived, with many components replaced due to degradation and termite damage. The materials for the wooden house are cut from the tropical rainforest around the village. New construction and repair of house have been done through community collaboration. The personnel for the preservation of the wooden community in the tropical rainforest, methods of conservation of rainforest wooden houses need to support community activities. Preservation of wood communities in the rainforest requires a new way of practicing the linkage between nature and cultural linkage. So this is the former one. So now if the audience has the question, now I ask.